Hey everybody, this is Yusef for Good Games Nobody Played, and today we're looking at Spider-Man Web of Shadows. Like all the other 40-plus-year-olds, I have stacks and stacks and stacks of Spider-Man comics in my basement, including tons from the Clone Saga. If you know about the Clone Saga, you understand why I stopped really collecting Spider-Man comics. And seriously, there are tons of videos done by kids half my age about the Spider-Man Clone Saga and how it almost single-handedly destroyed the comic book industry. I was literally one of those guys who couldn't stand having to buy crappy artwork in a comic just because it was the last installment of a story and a saga that was lame and it never stopped. Those damn YouTube kids read the saga digitally like, yeah, at this point Marvel lost a lot of its readership and blah blah blah. I was literally part of that readership. I was in the trenches going to my local comic book shop with my $3 a week allowance, buying the books, having my dad tell me I was wasting my money while he was smoking, not understanding the hypocrisy behind it all. He also told me I was wasting my time drawing. I've always wanted to burn him for saying that. Pop, you are a dummy. Anyway, so after the Clone Saga, I needed some other way to waste money on Spider-Man, and video games are it. I've already covered Ultimate Spider-Man, which you should check out if it should interest you. I think I'll make a Spidey playlist. I already did a Web of Shadows PlayStation 2 review, which was super disappointing. But I think it's time to do the 360 version of Web of Shadows, the actual good one. In this game, Spider-Man starts off in the middle of a symbiote apocalypse. Like literally half of the open world game Spider-Man does, there is some sort of zombie-like infection emergency. In a lot of these games, Spider-Man is the only superhero, but in this game, at least Spider-Man keeps running into other superheroes that live and work in New York. That's the way it should be. Any open world Spidey adventure is nothing without all the random cameos of other superheroes. There is more plot to it, which I will cover in the plot summary, but I mean, symbiote zombies? I'm sure you can guess who's behind it. What makes Web of Shadows unique is that you can change from normal Spider-Man to symbiote Spider-Man on the fly. The game also gives you choices based on which Spider-Man attitude you want to convey. You can either be the Boy Scout Spider-Man.
You were played.
They were trying to make you guys kill one another.
And it worked.
Or the douchebag symbiote Spider-Man.
The streets are gonna be safe, gentlemen.
What are you doing? This solves nothing.
Actually, Luke, this solves everything. These losers have been played.
For the sake of the plot summary, I reveal both sides and each choice that you have to make, and each Spider-Man gets the job done without much variation to the story. At the end of the game, though, your choices really matter. The combat in the game is quite unique to other Spider-Man games. For one, you would fight on the walls like you would fight on level ground. For two, there is this interesting web zip chain attack mechanic that will allow you to home in on characters you can't really see on the screen. It also allows you to spring off bad guys to seek higher ground, which helps a ton in boss fights that are built around this mechanic. For three, you can fight two different ways: as regular Spidey with speed and quick combos, or as symbiote Spidey that just lays you out flat with big punches and tentacles. Personally, I mostly pick regular Spidey just because of the sheer flow of the combat. I like jamming on buttons rhythmically. The symbiote hits harder, but the combos are very short. His area of effect is better though, so it's better with groups. Collecting Spider-Man tokens around the city builds up Spidey's stamina bars and swing speed. Defeating the bad guys allows you to get XP and buy combat upgrades. There's a weird secret in this game. There's a Game Plus mode for Web of Shadows, but it's hard to pull up because it will only activate if you let the end credits play all the way through. And if it doesn't activate, you basically need to restart the game from the ending and then let it play again until it does. The devs gotta get their props, if you know what I'm saying. Unfortunately, old Spider-Man games are a little harder to come by nowadays because of all the licensing being shifted back and forth between all the companies involved in these types of games. I mean, if you have 30 or 40 bucks and a PS3 or an Xbox 360, you can enjoy flipping to Black Spidey and nailing someone in the face with a parked car. But when you hear game reviewers complaining about game preservation and games being lost to capitalism, the Spidey games fit that problem to a T. Spider-Man Web of Shadows is one of those games that they made for Spider-Man just because they needed to make a Spider-Man game, and I respect it for that. And I'm the type of person who can't stand how much they go to the well for symbiote storylines. Like, for real. Every new Spider-Man cartoon, except for the first ones, always ends in the symbiote saga. The moment your cartoon or your movie or your series has Venom show up, that's pretty much the end. That's the last season. And thus I've come to really dislike Venom for it, for sure. And seriously, by and large, Spider-Man has some far out stories. But the symbiote stories are the silliest because the longer they go on, the more powers they give to these symbiotes, and Spider-Man always regresses. So it becomes harder and harder to see Peter actually getting through these symbiote situations, you know? But that's okay because next week they'll have a new cartoon with a new art style, and Peter will start at the beginning. He'll be back to high school. And we're gonna do it all over again. Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Eddie Brock. Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Eddie Brock. Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Eddie Brock. All the damn time. But anyway, with Web of Shadows, what it lacks in actual story, it makes up for with the cameos. And it does some experimental things that I think work out pretty well. Like most of the games on this channel, I suggest you check it out, especially if you like comic book Spidey. Okay, that's all I got. I was planning on adding this to the video game plot summary, but then I went on a tangent about my father trying to tell me I was wasting my time by reading and drawing. Seriously, even if they have drawings in them, they're still books. I swear, if you stand in the corner and read a book about two dragons going to school for skateboarding, as long as it doesn't have any drawings in it, people think you're an intellectual. I mean, I think the Twilight books prove that being a person who reads doesn't really make you that smart. Whatever. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please subscribe if someone ever got mad at you for getting better at something. Like if their hate didn't stop you. And comment that the Clone Saga ruined your childhood in the comments if you got this far. And I appreciate every single one of you. You all freed me like Neo freed Agent Smith. And I can't wait to release the plot summary next week for this game. Peace.